This is Story Recapped. Today, I'm going to explain a comedy, sci-fi film called Evolution. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. In a desert in Arizona, aspiring firefighter Wayne Gray drives to an abandoned cabin and drags a dummy inside. He creates a story that the dummy was smoking in bed as he covers the cabin with gas. He then lights it on fire and pretends to rescue the dummy. Wayne then performs CPR on it, but spots a meteor heading his way. Quickly, he runs, barely escaping the explosion as the meteor hits the cabin and throws his car into the air. At a nearby community college, Dr. Ira Kane hands out his students graded research papers announcing that most students got A's. However, Deke and Danny got C's since they copied each other's work and mistook organic cells for prison cells. Meanwhile, Professor Harry Block receives word about the meteor. After the phone call, he talks to his student, Nadine, about her poorly written essay. Nadine insists that he checks again since she needs the credit to get into nursing school. Seeing her lack of enthusiasm and empathy, Harry wonders why she even wants to be a nurse, so she reveals that she actually wants to enter a beauty contest and only wants to be a nurse to impress the judges. Ira then walks in on them to invite Harry to lunch. Instead of lunch, however, Harry takes Ira to the meteor crash site. Being the college's representative for the U.S. Geological Survey, Harry is assigned to investigate the area. At the site, Wayne complains about the damage to his car, insisting that he gets reimbursed. Ira and Harry interrogate Wayne about the incident, but he's already late for his fireman's exam. Ira and Harry then head inside the crater made by the meteor, where some officers are playfully taking photos of the meteor. After Harry dismisses the officers, the two check on the meteor. Ira notices moss growing out of the meteor despite only landing a few hours ago. Then they strike the meteor with a pickaxe, causing liquid to come out as if it's bleeding. That evening, Ira looks into the rock and fluid sample they took from the meteor while Harry complains about his career. Harry then leaves to coach the women's volleyball team, leaving Ira to study the samples on his own. Under the microscope, he sees that the fluid contains microorganisms that rapidly split and reproduce. Ira shares the news to Harry during a volleyball tournament, noting how the microorganisms have 10 base pairs when all of life on Earth only has 4. This means that the organisms are alien, capturing Harry's attention. Ira takes Harry to his office to show him the microorganisms, but when they check again, the organisms have mutated. Ira is dumbfounded that the organisms are evolving too quickly, but Harry is just excited about getting a Nobel Prize. Meanwhile, Wayne falls asleep during his fireman's exam. He clumsily does the tasks and accidentally slams a hose on his crotch. This leads to him failing his exam. One day, Ira and Harry take their classes to the crater to retrieve the meteor. Inside, spores have grown around the meteor while a heavy fog covers most of the ground. Nadine feels something on her feet, so Ira sweeps the fog and finds millions of flatworms covering the ground. They take one of the flatworms to study, but it immediately dies after exposure to the atmosphere. They take a couple flatworms, along with the fog as their atmosphere, in a jar back to school. Nadine approaches Harry to insist that he give her extra credit for their field trip. Suddenly, she notices one of the flatworms splitting. Ira notes that it's undergoing mitosis to reproduce. Harry thinks that they need to contact the government about their discovery, but Ira insists that they don't, so they can conduct their own research first. In a country club, Wayne is stuck at a dead-end job while collecting discarded pool towels. As he's wheeling the towels to the service area, he notices dead worms coming out of the back room. Inside, he finds more flatworms coming out from a crack on the floor. He takes a bottle of bleach to exterminate them, but notices something in the filtration tank. When he looks closer, a mutated sea creature snaps at him. Returning to the site, Ira and Harry discover that the military has taken over. They introduce themselves to the soldiers, but they're refused access to the site. While an officer calls their superior to check, another soldier recognizes Ira. He then goes for his gun and threatens to kill Ira for giving him the worst month of his life. Fortunately, the soldier gets apprehended, but Ira doesn't explain what happened to Harry. The two are allowed inside the site, where they meet General Woodman. Woodman welcomes Ira and reveals that Ira used to work at the Army Research Facility in the Pentagon. When Ira becomes suspicious about how the military learned about the site, Colonel Fleming admits that they've been monitoring his computer. Woodman scolds Ira for keeping the discovery a secret. Just then, Dr. Allison Reed from the CDC trips as she's introduced. She adds to Woodman's point that it was dangerous for them to have kept the discovery to themselves. Woodman promises that the two will be updated about their findings, but they argue that the research is theirs. Woodman coyly hints that a couple of college professors aren't much help in this scenario. When Ira insists that they have the right to conduct their research, Woodman warns him about his past mistakes. This forces the two to leave begrudgingly. Weeks later, Ira and Harry attend a hearing to regain access to the meteor site. Ira stresses that them being the ones who discovered the site, they have the right to be involved. To prove that Ira isn't qualified for the task, Allison digs up his history with an experimental anthrax vaccine that was administered to soldiers. The soldiers suffered side effects such as severe diarrhea, temporary blindness, and problems with the reproductive organ. After the hearing, Ira finds that his office and lab have been ransacked. All their files and samples were stolen. Since they can't report the military to the police, Ira and Harry infiltrate the military base to retrieve their samples. Dressed in uniform, they successfully enter the base and see that the organisms have evolved into large insects. They dress in hazmat suits and head down to the cave, unaware that they're being monitored by surveillance cameras. Inside the cave, they see that the area around the meteor has evolved into an alien rainforest, teeming with critters and plant life. They watch the spectacle of life, but get shocked when one of the creatures gets eaten by another. After Ira accidentally steps on a critter, smaller spider-like aliens scavenge its body for food. Harry attempts to snatch one of the aliens to take as a specimen, but another large creature eats it. Above them, Allison is called in to check on the surveillance monitor, where they watch Harry comparing her body to one of the aliens. Ira stresses that he's not attracted to Allison, and their conversation infuriates her. While taking a sample of a rock, an insect distracts Harry. Allison and the officers walk in, threatening to arrest them for trespassing. Ira argues that they stole their property first, which Allison isn't aware of. During their argument, the insect cuts its way inside Harry's suit. Harry yells for help and they see the insect is already inside the suit. Allison instructs Ira to turn up the oxygen in Harry's suit to kill the insect, but it only forces the insect to find a way inside Harry's body. The team rushes Harry for an operation to remove the alien insect. They see the creature on his leg, but it soon climbs up to Harry's rectum. The doctor uses forceps to extract the creature while Allison and Ira try their best to comfort Harry. Finally, the insect is out and immediately dies. Meanwhile, Wayne works as a waiter at a party in the country club. Tired of his job, he's considering moving to California. He begrudgingly pours a drink for his boss, Barry, who then spots an attractive woman. Later, Barry sets down a picnic at the golf course, but accidentally spills champagne on his pants. He goes to the lake to wash it off when his date appears. Suddenly, a reptilian creature jumps out of the lake and chases Barry. The woman screams as the creature drags Barry back into the lake. The woman screams her way back to the party and announces that Barry has been eaten, much to Wayne's amusement. Back at the site, Allison scolds Ira for his actions. Ira admits that he was desperate. After his failure with the vaccine, he was exiled to Arizona. He saw the meteor as the discovery that could have been his ticket out. The next day, Ira and Harry return to the college and find Wayne waiting for them with a large bag. They take him inside their lab, where he dumps the reptilian alien that killed Barry. He shares that the alien choked to death when it reached the sand trap. In a house in the residential area, a group of women finds dead worms coming out of the closet. The homeowner, Jill, insists that her friend, Grace, opens the door. Inside, they find a frog-like creature. Seeing its frightened eyes, Grace beckons the creature to come to her, but it sticks out its tongue and bites her instead. Jill takes a gun from the kitchen, but the creature dies and deflates before she shoots. Ira approaches Allison in her hotel to warn her that the aliens are spreading and adapting. She already knows what happened on the golf course and assures them that they have things under control. Still, he insists that they have to kill the aliens while they can. Ira then meets Harry and Wayne at a diner while they're having breakfast. Ira turns to the customers on the next table to borrow some cream, only to see that it's his ex-girlfriend, Denise, who's on a date with Officer Sam. Ira jokes to Sam about investigating his missing shirts, hinting that Denise stole them when they broke up. Pissed, Denise starts removing her shirt to return it to him, but Sam stops her. Suddenly, Sam's radio reports an animal attack, so he leaves. Ira, Harry, and Wayne follow Sam to check on the animal attack. When they get there, Sam refuses to let them in, but when they threaten that it could be a health risk, he's left with no choice but to show them the creature. Inside, they check where the creature crawled in from. Suddenly, Wayne calls them and shows them that there's a valley behind the house and it's covered with large, dragon-like aliens suffocating in the atmosphere. Harry notes that the entire area is on top of caves and mining tunnels that connect to the meteor site. One of the creatures suddenly wakes up and vomits an egg sac before dying. The sac reveals another dragon-like alien that's finally adapted to the oxygen. The alien flies away and crashes into a nearby shopping mall. The shoppers panic and escape as the alien terrorizes the building. The trio arrives and steals shotguns from a store to fight the creature. They then find the alien abducting a shoplifter. It flies away and the three struggle to keep up. Spotting a microphone in the hall, Wayne starts making bird sounds, hoping to attract the alien. Harry scolds him, so Wayne starts singing instead. Oddly, this works as the creature moans in response. The alien flies back to them, and Harry quickly grabs the girl while Ira shoots down the creature. While they appreciate their work, the alien wakes up, so the trio shoots it again. Soon, the media take notice of the aliens around the area. This forces Governor Lewis to confront the military at the site. He berates them for not notifying him regarding the aliens, but Woodman defends that he wanted to keep things confidential since Ira and Harry previously breached the facility. Allison tries to defend Ira, but Lewis drops the issue. Allison then explains that the aliens' ecosystem continuously spreads and would take over the entire state in a week. In 2 months, the aliens would take over the entire country. Suddenly, Ira's team barges in, announcing that they eliminated the alien at the mall. Woodman accuses them of breaching safety protocols when they infiltrated the crash site and blames them for aliens spreading. Lewis doesn't care about pointing fingers and urges them to come up with a plan to stop the aliens. Woodman proposes to evacuate the town and bomb the aliens with napalm. Ira argues that they don't know how the aliens' bodies would react to the chemical. The discussion is interrupted when they discover that the aliens have evolved into primates who purposefully destroy the surveillance cameras. The elevator from the cave suddenly activates, and they realize that the primate aliens are operating it. Soldiers are called in to engage the primates into battle. Everyone waits for the elevator, but when they open it, it's empty. The lights start to flicker, and the primates emerge out of the sealed crater in the middle. One alien attacks Lewis while another throws an officer into the crater. Ira tries to defend the governor, but gets captured by the alien. Harry slams the alien with a case, while Wayne grabs a gun and shoots the creature. This effectively kills the alien. Out of panic, Lewis approves Woodman's plan to exterminate the aliens. Ira's group is escorted out of the base, but Allison catches up to them. Allison quits her job, tired of Woodman's attitude. She's also retrieved Ira's original samples and files, allowing them to continue their research. The military evacuates the civilians out of the city that evening while setting up the explosives. Despite this, the college students party wildly outside the school. The team returns to Ira's laboratory, hoping to figure out how to kill the aliens. They wonder why the sample Ira took from the meteor didn't evolve like the rest. Having lost hope, Harry starts smoking and tosses his lit match at the sink. Instead, it hits the sample, and the fire allows it to mutate and grow. Seeing this, Ira figures that heat is the catalyst to the organism's growth, so bombing them would actually make them grow faster. When Allison calls Woodman to warn him, he rejects her calls. Deke and Danny visit the lab and offer the team some beer. During this, Ira notices the periodic table on Allison's shirt. He explains that humans are carbon-based life forms. In the periodic table, the human poison, arsenic, is found under carbon. Knowing that the aliens are nitrogen-based, he follows the same pattern and figures that their poison is selenium. However, they would need hundreds of gallons of it. Deke and Danny point out that the Head & Shoulders shampoo actually has selenium sulfide as the active ingredient. The following day, the college students help them load up gallons of shampoo into a fire truck. With the truck full, the team heads to an old mining site. From there, they walk to the main cavern with the fire hose in tow. Meanwhile, Lewis arrives at the military camp to see the spectacle. Finally, the team reaches the cavern, but before they start, the explosions begin earlier than they expected. The aliens grow into a single giant organism, so Ira and his team hurry out of the way. The giant alien breaks out of the ground, destroying everything in its path. Witnessing the chaos, Woodman orders his team to move out. Suddenly, the alien starts to divide. This will create more giant-like aliens that could take over the planet. To stop it, the team drives the fire truck towards the alien. Reaching under it, Ira spots an opening. They stop the truck and lift the ladder towards the opening. Ira and Harry climb up as the alien continues its mitosis. Harry inserts the hose inside, introducing the shampoo into its body. The alien's body reacts, suddenly capturing Harry and pulling him inside. Ira helps him out, and they escape. Allison drives the truck out of the way, and the alien soon explodes, causing it to rain gunk. The team celebrates, and Ira and Allison share a kiss. Soon, Lewis addresses the media and commends the team for their success in stopping the alien. Ira soaks up the victory, but Allison teases him, and they discreetly leave to enjoy some private time. Lewis gives Wayne a medal and assigns him to be a firefighter. Harry also steps into the spotlight and gives a speech. When Lewis is about to introduce Allison and Ira, they notice that they're already gone. After their victory, Ira, Harry, and Wayne promote Head & Shoulders to keep their hair danger-free and the planet alien-free.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.